Hello, this is Lindsay. Welcome back to my channel. So we are almost completed, almost done with this journal, the Vintage Music and Roses, and I still have some kits available in my shop marked down. So if you have not had a chance to buy a kit yet and you would like to, I would love for you to clear me out of what I have listed in my shop so that we can move on to more things. Anyhow, today we are talking about saving money by reinforcing our printed ephemera. So that's pretty much just a lot of words to say you can use thin paper to print. So you should have received ephemera. Little disclaimer, there may have been one kit that I sent out that did not have ephemera. I found a printed sheet and I don't know if I forgot to tuck it in the kit. I think I did. I'm not sure. So you can contact me if you didn't receive this. We'll work that out. So I try to stay on track and make sure absolutely everything gets in the kit, but I am a busy mom with 3 little boys, and sometimes I'm interrupted 10 times while putting together a kit, and something may get forgotten. So thank you so much for your patience and understanding with that. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing, your kit should have been printed on presentation paper, which is this is like a 28-pound paper, so it's not too bad. It's still kind of flimsy, so if you like a thicker embellishment, that's good. But also, you can print your kits and embellishments, journaling cards and things like that onto just plain copy paper, and then you can reinforce them with free items like cereal boxes. And so you should have received a little piece of some kind of a cereal or granola bar box or something like that in your kit. I know probably everybody has these, but just in case you throw them all out or recycle them or you don't eat it and you wanted a little piece to follow along, everybody should have a piece. So let me just show you kind of one thing that you can do. Also, maybe pull out a couple of your paper scraps. Just cut out one of the pieces of ephemera. It doesn't matter which one. And the presentation paper, like I said, it doesn't make it too terribly flimsy, but and sometimes I just leave it this way. You can also back it with coffee dyed paper, scrapbook paper, and things like that, but I'm just showing you pretty much a free way if you have any kind of packaging. So this is just from a graham cracker box from Aldi, and I actually glue to the printed side. Well, I might not do that this time because I can see through. If you have a light paper and you can kind of see through, then you're going to want to glue it to this side and then back that with a darker paper. So I like to use a glue stick for this because the wet glue, in my opinion, you can kind of see through it. So I just have a Dollar Tree glue stick, and I'm going to make sure all the edges are glued really well and place that down right there. Take my scissors and cut it out. This gives it a nice thickness. And you probably, if you don't have these packaging, you probably have friends and family who can keep cereal boxes and things like that for you. I keep most of mine, and I have quite the stack. I use them for covers and things like that too. So now you have this on the back, and this I can actually, well, that's cool. I can rip part of that off. That's probably not going to let me rip the whole thing off because this is such a dark blue, kind of shows through the paper, and it's still plenty thick if I rip some of this picture off. I'm not necessarily recommending that you do this, but sorry, I have a little bit of a cold. My nose is bothering me. All right, there we go, whatever. Side note, all right, so maybe just grab like a scrap piece of paper that's dark and you can't see the cereal box printing through. Make sure that you've glued all around the edges really, really well. And if you line up 2 of the straight edges, this makes your life a whole lot easier because then you only have to cut out on 2 edges. If you have a sewing machine and you are used to sewing ephemera for your junk journal, you can stitch around the edges. I sew on cereal boxes all the time, but there we go. If you glue the edges, then you're good to go. There's a nice sturdy piece. This is like a calling card, and then if you want to, you can just ink the edges. I'm using a little bit of green ink here. And you've just, because like buying cardstock can be kind of expensive if you're printing a lot, so you can buy the cheap copy paper print on it and then glue it to other scraps of paper that you have or cereal boxes. So let's try one more. Let's do one that's like not a rectangle. It's a little more difficult and see how that works. So what I'm going to do here, instead of cutting this out in detail and then cutting it out in detail again, I can kind of see the image coming through. I'm just going to make sure I glue, all of it and over the edge so that it's not peeling up. And then I'm going to press it down on my scrap piece of cereal box. And now I'm going to cut out. Now these scissors are probably not the best for it, but just go slowly and fussy cut it out. And the real trick here is inking the edges, because then you don't have to worry about if you leave a little sliver of white. You can just, I should have backed, talking too much. Okay, so before I cut this out, I probably want to add paper to the back. That way I only have to cut one time if it's more than a rectangle. All right, we're going to do that right there. There, now I'm cutting all the layers at once. And you kind of have to go slowly because it is rather thick. But this makes a really nice kind of a chipboard embellishment. Now, yes, if you can buy 110-pound cardstock and you can print all your ephemera on that, that will save you time, but it is kind of pricey. So this is a nice, and you probably should wait until the glue dries because it's slipping. I'm just impatient. Just impatient. Ain't nobody got time for that, waiting for the glue to dry. It would be like 100 times easier to do this if the glue was dry, though. All right. I know you guys don't want to watch me do this. All right. There we go. And then if there's a couple little spots that, are sticking out, you can just go back, trim a little bit till you're happy with it. And then just take your ink, and once you ink the edges, it will give it a finished look. And, there we go. And if you have to cut into something a little bit, like I just did there, inking the edges makes it look finished and like you didn't even, like it wasn't a mistake. There we go. So now it's like a chipboard piece. It's nice, it's backed, it's sturdy, it's great for covers, it's great to put in tuck spots, to put on tags, to make into a tag. You can hole punch it and put a ribbon through it and you have a nice thick tag. So that is my tip. You can do that with all of your ephemera if you want to. In our next episode, we're going to be putting all these things into the journal. I'm not going to back everything because some of them I'm just going to be cutting out and gluing actually onto the pages. But I just wanted to give this tip, whether or not you're actually using these pieces in this journal. It's just a great tip overall, using what we have to save money.